Now joining us on the show, Richard Justice, formerly of the Washington Post, the Houston Chronicle, the Daily Texan.
Yeah.
He's one of
Can't
the
keep a job.
And he's with MLB.com, one of the foremost baseball writers around. Obviously, the first question out of the gate here with the World Series being over, do you have to pay for your mattresses, or did you hedge your bets and put a couple million down on the Nationals?
No, I know a lot of people like that today. They're like, hey, Mac, I got to pay for that now, I guess.
Yeah, that's got to be rough on that level. Now that it's over, were you surprised that the Nationals did what they did?
Yeah, I thought the World Series was close. I thought if you looked at the top 5 or 6 in their lineup, the top 3 in their 2 rotations, it was really even. I thought the Astros' big advantage was the bullpen, and the bullpen depth would eventually win out. And the Astros thought that too, and it didn't happen. But it's a game of so many inches. You know, they tell us this all the time. You go back and look at the pitch Howie Kendrick hit. The Astros analysts will say you can't hit that ball out of the park.
That ball is not supposed to be able to get out of the park.
And I don't know after the game. I don't think Will Harris had looked at it. When he goes back and looks at it, I don't know if he's going to feel better or worse. As Robinson Chirino said, you put the ball where you wanted to put it. He hit it off the foul pole. Sometimes the baseball gods don't smile on you.
That's what's tough about this sport for a lot of fans who, and I'll call them new fans, because I think when the Astros won the World Series, I mean, you know, we known our whole lives the Astros would never win the World Series. So they win it in 2017, and now fans are like, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. Like, this is going to be some sort of Patriots run. Right. And it could well be that.
Right.
But the Patriots don't win every year either. But they did it backwards, though. This last 3 years, if they'd gone to ALCS, lost in the World Series, didn't win it, it would feel different than winning it, ALCS, and now losing it.
Right. Do you know how long I've had to wait for a World Series? 2 years. How much longer? My kids. But, you know, as A.J. Hinch will be the first to tell you, it's a results-oriented business. And when you had a team, when you make the Zach Greinke trade, you give up 4 players that you expected to be in the big leagues over the next 2 years. You're saying we're going to win the World Series now. Our window's open now. It's never going to be more open. And so you expect to win it. And I do think, and A.J. Hinch mentions this a lot, it's not natural to win 100 games 3 years in a row. Right. But they've spoiled us with how good they are. And not just how good they are, the level, how entertaining they are. Watching George Springer play baseball is as much fun as there is anything in professional sports. Right. And the chemistry they have, and you know, they've maintained their edge. One of the things they said before the start of the playoffs is we still play with a chip on our shoulder. We're still going to do things in the dugout that are borderline offensive to the other team.
They don't care.
Right. All those things just tells you, hey, we still love each other and we love showing up and we love playing.
And they're dominant. I mean, even in the stretch, and they didn't win this year, but they were a dominant team.
Oh.
And they don't have
historically
like 1 or 2
dominant.
Stars. They have a lineup full of stars.
I was thinking about that as they look toward next year. Like, I mean, you can argue Reddick for Tucker in right field. Otherwise, they're set at every spot, and they're deep. I mean, they'll figure the catching thing out. And when you're going to start the season with Verlander, Greinke, McCullers, you know, that's pretty good. It's a really, really good team. So you have George Springer, arbitration eligible, 4th year. You have Correa. You have Osuna. And when you factor in all their raises, you're at $207 million.
Good.
Without Garrett Cole.
They're not losing money.
No, they're not. And Reed Bryant had made that point. He goes, nobody came to me when we had cheap tickets and said, sure appreciate the cheap tickets. Now they're complaining about the expensive tickets. And I do. There's a part of me that agrees with you in that your window's open. Just do it. So the tax over $208 million will be 20 cents on the dollar every minute, and then it's 30%
for every dollar.
But then if you're over 3 years in a row, it's 50% tax.
Now that I would let them start. I love them.
But it's a reminder that when Forrest Whitley, Kyle Tucker, and the guys they traded away, Corbin Martin, those guys have to come to the big leagues. You have to churn your roster, or you can't afford it because you can't afford to keep everybody.
You just can't keep people. Yeah, I mean,
but Jim Crane has never said we can't afford it. And when Jeff Luhnow was pulling back on Verlander, prospects, salary, all that, he goes, no, you just make that deal. And the same thing with Greinke. They were backing out on Greinke. I'm not going to give 4 prospects that are going to make minimum salary next year for one guy making $25 million after Arizona pays 10. And Jim said, does it help us win the World Series? If it helps us win the World Series, let's do it.
He wants to win and wants to win
badly. He's almost the perfect owner, and like you can ask him about certain things, and he's not totally involved. He says his job is a referee between Jeff Luhnow and A.J. Hinch, and that's the best way to describe it. Just I'm going to give you every resource you have to win.
Along that lines of the management at the Astros, that fiasco with the Sports Illustrated reporter and how that entire thing was handled, could they have done a worse job of it early on in the beginning of that?
Well, they couldn't have done a worse job. And somebody, and maybe you said it, they're going to be graduate school classes taught on crisis management for years, like how not to do it. You could have stopped it right there in the beginning. The first hour you could have stopped it. Instead, you attack the reporter. Don't you want to Google her name and say, 10 years of Sports Illustrated, won awards.
She doesn't make things up.
And also, in the age of social media, it was in the middle of a room, so you attack this person, and within 2 minutes, there were, including 2 Chronicle reporters,
Indeed.
saying, wait a minute,
I saw
it
exactly
happened
what she said.
exactly
Wow.
that way. You can't do it. They never made it right, and even when Jeff tried to throw himself on the mercy of the court, it was like, are you saying this because are you sorry that you got caught? Are you?
And even within that, I thought, Jeff, how do you show up at the World Series with all of the world media there, and you have not yet talked to that reporter?
No, and
Come
also,
on, you have that conversation first, and then you tell the media, oh yeah, I've already spoken to her, we're good.
what I wonder is, around the country, how much did it play with fans? Because a reporter, front office guy, maybe doesn't resonate. But inside the industry, they couldn't have looked worse.